Khabib to the body. He doesn't seem to fear the power coming back from McGregor as yet.
You know, it's like ribs, like on the training, because I was training so hard.
Khabib, the Eagle Nurmagomedov.
Like whatever they say, I say, hey, it's gonna be not only for me, it's gonna be for my opponent too. If he can fight, I can fight all night too.
If you wanna compete in a high level, you need so many things around you. First of all, you need good people.
Number 8. Conor McGregor. The rivalry between Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov began with the announcement of McGregor's title shot at UFC 205. Nurmagomedov was initially offered a fight against Eddie Alvarez, but UFC bosses later decided in favor of McGregor. Nurmagomedov later featured on the card, beating Michael Johnson in 3 rounds. In a post-fight interview, Nurmagomedov expressed his admiration for the UFC's PR machine and the power of the UFC PR machine. The feud intensified when Nurmagomedov slapped McGregor's good friend Artem Lobov during the UFC 223 fight week. McGregor then flew to New York to confront Nurmagomedov at the UFC 223 Media Day. The incident led to a highly anticipated bout between McGregor and Nurmagomedov at UFC 229. McGregor submitted to Nurmagomedov in the 4th round of their grudge match, but a massive brawl broke out after the fight. Nurmagomedov attacked McGregor's training partner, Dylan Danis, and 2 members of Nurmagomedov's entourage. Since then, the pair have been firing verbal shots at each other in interviews and on social media. Rumors of a rematch have been circulating, but nothing has been agreed. Nurmagomedov recently said his bitter feud with McGregor was behind us, following the demise of his father and trainer, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov. McGregor expressed his condolences on social media, while Nurmagomedov emphasized that human relations are also important.
20 years with MMA, what do you think about? I deserve title shot or no? Please tell these guys.
I think you definitely deserve
Let's go.
I was boxing the bleeding head off him, kicking the bleeding leg off him. Usual show you do it to close the distance.
Like whatever they say, I say, hey, it's gonna be not only for me, it's gonna be for my opponent too. If he can fight, I can fight all night too, you know.
There was no check. There was not one of them I checked.
On this press conference, everybody was talking about Justin Gaethje gonna be his toughest opponent. What happened?
Number 7. Dylan Danis. UFC commentator Joe Rogan suggested that Danis, cornering Conor McGregor for the UFC lightweight title fight, had been shouting insults at UFC fighter Nurmagomedov. This led to the Russian diving out to the octagon and sparking a melee. Nurmagomedov has denied these claims and explained that he targeted Danis because the rest of McGregor's team was too old to fight him. Nurmagomedov and McGregor are set to discover their punishments for their role in the brawl when they sit before a Nevada State Athletic Commission hearing next week, with fines and suspensions expected for the lightweight rivals. The 155-pound champion has previously dismissed calls for an immediate rematch with McGregor, but if the Notorious does earn another title shot against Nurmagomedov down the line, expect security to avoid a repeat of the chaotic end to UFC 229 last October.
I remember like someone from his like corner say something.
I'm used to fighting real fighters. He's not ready for this. I guarantee you I knock his ass out. Watch.
No, it's on the chin.
There's the title. Still undisputed. Khabib. And Khabib, if you've watched his career, you know he's not in his element unless he is jabbing and talking.
I beat him any day, twice on Sundays if I had to, bro. Let's go right now. Where's he at? Go right now. I don't mind. I'll take my shit off.
Number 6. Tony Ferguson. Former UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov has criticized Tony Ferguson for his age and his lack of business acumen. He believes it's time for Ferguson to explore alternative methods of earning a living, such as co-coaching a season of The Ultimate Fighter, TUF, or offering him a deal with his own promotion, Eagle FC. However, Nurmagomedov argues that Ferguson is not smart enough to do business with him personally. In an interview with MMA Underground's John Morgan, Nurmagomedov expressed his opinion that Ferguson's brain problem may hinder his ability to do business with him personally. He believes that Ferguson's age and ambitions make him a better fit for his family and career.
This kid's a bully. He's never been in a street fight, never actually been thrown into a trash can or any kind of shit like that. And Muskegon, Michigan.
Hey, Tony, look at me. Look at when you fight last time.
This is his problem, you know, leave him alone, you know. I don't want to talk about him, about his problem.
I can eat you in a street fight. What are you talking about? When you fight in street, tell me when you fight in street. Tell the
Last time I
people
fell in the
true.
street, oh
Huh?
man, it was a one-punch fucking knockout.
What? When you fight in street.
Number 5. Artem Lobov. Artem Lobov, the man behind the bitter rivalry between Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov, has spoken out about his involvement in the brawl at UFC 229. Nurmagomedov, who attacked McGregor's teammate Dylan Danis, scaled the octagon wall in response to a confrontation at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Lobov, who is initially apprehensive about Nurmagomedov calling McGregor a chicken, later revealed that Nurmagomedov was coming to support him. He said that Conor wanted to even out the situation and give him a chance to speak with Nurmagomedov one-on-one. However, Lobov believes it was Nurmagomedov who crossed the line, as he believed it was always within the sport before that. He plans to pursue a fight with Zubaira Tukhugov, who was involved in the hotel incident and also took part in the brawl at UFC 229, despite being pulled from UFC Moncton.
Он настоящий чемпион. Чемпион — это не только пояс вокруг твоего, у тебя.
But what do you say about 24 win streak?
He feels like he's far better equipped to handle 5 rounds than he was when he left in 2016.
I'm here with the winner and new UFC lightweight champion, Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Так кто здесь чикен у нас? Кто боится? Конор выходит каждый раз, несмотря ни на что. Он настоящий боец.
Number 4. Colby Covington. Retired UFC fighter Khabib Nurmagomedov is urging other fighters to blackball Colby Covington and refuse to fight him after Covington pressed charges against George Masvidal. He emphasized that insulting someone's family is not acceptable and that no one has the right to insult someone's family. Covington claimed Masvidal attacked him in Miami, claiming he was punched twice and suffered a fractured tooth. Nurmagomedov called on all UFC fighters to boycott Covington as an opponent. Covington, the top-ranked challenger in the welterweight division, has had 2 unsuccessful challenges against Kamaru Usman for the championship since 2019. If fighters follow Nurmagomedov's advice, a potential third fight and potential payday may never come.
For the winner by unanimous decision, Colby!
If you want to compete in a high level, you need so many things around you. First of all, you need good people.
Tyrone Woodley, I'm coming for you. If you don't answer the front door, I'm going to knock it in and I'm going to take what's mine. That welterweight belt.
Because like everybody sit here, everybody have problem. It's like nobody's safe.
I fight for you guys. Also, shout out to Marshall Rogan and you. Thanks for supporting us fighters.
Number 3. Michael Johnson. UFC 205's main event will feature lightweight champion Eddie Alvarez against featherweight champion Conor McGregor. Khabib Nurmagomedov, the presumptive number 1 contender, is unhappy with the outcome and wants to fight Michael Johnson. UFC President Dana White discussed Nurmagomedov's future and the possibility of him competing on the card. Johnson had expressed his desire to fight Nurmagomedov in New York following his first-round KO of Dustin Poirier at UFC Hidalgo. Nurmagomedov hasn't faced a top 10 lightweight since 2014, and his injury history prevented him from fighting again until April of this year when he TKO'd late replacement Daryl Horcher. If this fight does happen at UFC 205, it will be another addition to one of the most stacked pay-per-views in UFC history.
Michael the Menace Johnson!
Now the real question is, how much endurance does Conor have now? How much has he worked on his conditioning?
And let's get this fight in December. I'm trying to go to Australia, baby, so I know somebody wants to fight me there.
If he need help, we have to help him. But we're gonna fight next month.
It's tough. That's one of my first guys I've ever fought to do that. So my hat's off to him, but
Number 2. Abel Trujillo. In the FX portion of UFC 160, Abel Trujillo and Khabib Nurmagomedov, 2 of the fastest rising fighters in the lightweight division, squared off in a bout. Trujillo had the MMA media buzz with his impressive UFC debut, knocking out Marcus Levasseur. Nurmagomedov, who has a perfect 3-0 record in the UFC, used his grappling superiority to control Trujillo in the cage, resulting in a simple decision win. 1. Khabib Nurmagomedov is a talented Russian fighter who has demolished his competition in all 4 of his UFC fights. He has knocked out Kamal Shalorus and Thiago Tavares, dominated Gleison Tibau, and made Abel Trujillo look like an amateur. The sky's the limit for this talented Russian. Abel Trujillo needs to work on his grappling as he got exhausted and frustrated in the 3rd round. The UFC wants to groom Nurmagomedov for a title shot, as he could have faced a top 15 opponent. However, Joe Silva chose to pit him against a prospect rather than an established fighter, putting him on the path walked by Lyoto Machida, not John Moraga. The UFC can learn from boxing, as seen in the 2010 fight between the 25-year-old wrestling star Phil Davis and then 23-year-old Swedish striker Alexander Gustafsson. In boxing, these 2 prospects would have been on parallel paths, learning and developing at the same time. In MMA, they met in what was just the 2nd UFC fight for both young fighters, and Davis got the better of Gustafsson that day. In conclusion, the UFC has a strong opportunity to develop Nurmagomedov and other promising fighters in the lightweight division.
Be emotional. He's a first-round fighter. He's a tough first round. He's got to weather his storm, and he breaks.
Abel Keller Trujillo.
55.
155.
No. I even had a crazy dream last night. It was telling me not to fight out of emotion. So,
Abel Trujillo.
Yeah, exactly, man. I feel like I'm finally coming into myself as a fighter.
Number 1. Members of the media. MMA icon Khabib Nurmagomedov has discussed his attitude towards social media, revealing that he believes the source of much of the hate directed at him is Russian social media. With an army of 32.1 million followers on Instagram alone, Khabib's popularity continues to grow despite his retirement from the octagon over 12 months ago. He believes that the rise of a prominent personality in any sphere of life would inevitably attract scrutiny, including no shortage of haters. Khabib believes that when a person becomes popular, people appear who support him, and haters appear at the same time. He believes that the source of much of the spite headed his way actually comes from Russian social media. He doesn't use social media network VKontakte, the popular Russian equivalent of Facebook, and feels that there is more support there. However, Khabib has the consolation of being voted his country's Sportsman of the Year, according to a survey run by the Public Opinion Fund. That's all for this video, folks. I'll see you next time.